Are you an adventurer looking to take your hunt to the next level? Then you're in the right place. Welcome to East Meets West Hunt with your host, Beau Martonik.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the East Meets West Hunt podcast presented by onX. The onX Hunt app is your mobile GPS app built by hunters for hunters. And the first question I had when I first was making a switch from a GPS to a cell phone as my GPS was, what happens when you don't have service? Well, when you don't have cell service, you can download the maps ahead of time when you have service and be able to access them with your phone even on airplane mode, which one, saves battery, and two, is able to operate just like any GPS. So it's really great to be able to do that. And the other thing was, what if my phone dies? It's a lot, in my opinion, it's less expensive to be able to charge your phone by carrying a mobile charger, whether that's something like a Dark Energy or something like a Gold Zero that has a solar panel on it, to do that rather than carrying double A's around with you. Just my opinion, but I'm really, really liking to use just having my phone and double that up as a mobile GPS. So head over to onxmaps.com, check out the Hunt app, use the coupon code EMW. That'll save yourself 20% off of the app. And the University of Elk Hunting. So Corey Jacobson, Elk 101, have put together the most comprehensive and complete resource for increasing your elk hunting knowledge, confidence, and success. So in addition to having the full access to the entire course for 1 year, you'll have access to the UEH mobile app, which puts all the content from the online course right in the palm of your hand, anytime, anywhere, with or without internet or cellular connection. Plus, UEH members receive incredible discounts from the Elk 101 partners, including 15% off elk hunting gear in the Elk 101 store. Use the coupon code EastMeetsWest. That'll save yourself $20 off of the online course. So check that out at elk101.com. And last but not least, Tethered. Tethered evolved from a desire to provide quality gear and resources to the saddle hunting community. They felt like the small niche in the saddle hunting community was really lacking when it came to specific gear and innovation in the field. So Tethered solved this problem by designing, engineering, and producing the most mobile, stealthy, and safest elevated hunting gear on the planet. I ran the Predator platform and Mantis saddle last year. Just absolute awesome piece of equipment. I was very, very skeptical going into it, and it'd be tough to see myself going without it going forward, just from the standpoint of it's just so light, so mobile to be able to get in. You can learn more about saddle hunting and check out Tethered's products over at tetherednation.com. All right, so this week, this is the second episode of the week recording. This is part 2 with John Barklow. And one of the things that came out with also this week was yesterday, the new, or last night, I guess it would be, the new Mountain Buck Scouting Series video dropped online on YouTube. So on the YouTube channel, just my name, Beau Martonik. Head over there. Part 4 is out, and it's all about hunting creek bottoms. This is I'm not talking about the big river bottoms. I'm talking about the creek bottoms, the smaller feeder streams, the ones leading into the bigger valleys. These areas can be so effective to hunt during the rut. And I went through, explained how to scout for them on onX, and then some in-the-field examples and case studies showing some places that I've had actual success and how that worked out. So check out that video on YouTube. And then this episode is part 2 with John Barklow. We're going to run through the 2020 Sitka Gear Big Game system, talking about the new Maven Optics harness, the Kelvin Lite down jacket and pants, what that's good for, and also kind of diving into John and I's elk hunting Sitka Gear kit, as well as the field testing process that Sitka Gear goes through in all of their gear. You've heard me talk about that before. This is coming from John, who's the big game category leader there. Just an absolute wealth of knowledge, brings a lot to the table, and just a valuable resource for Sitka Gear and all of us that get to learn and listen from him. So check that out. Check out the new Sitka Gear line, and hope you enjoy this episode here. Have a good weekend. Well, okay. Well, let's dive a little bit here into, as we just talked about, the general concept and, not brand specific. Let's talk to brand specific in 2020 Sitka Gear. So what can you tell me, John?
Yeah, I'm super fired up, as I always am. This is my favorite time of year, probably for work. My favorite time of year is September because I'm chasing elk, but spring is super exciting because it's when, I oftentimes am the one that gets to announce what we're bringing out new for big game for Sitka for that year. So 3 years in the making, but probably 9 years with the idea in my head, came out with something called the Maven Optics harness. So the Maven Optics harness is basically a very modular and versatile chassis to carry not only your binoculars, but any other optics and electronics that most hunters carry in the field. So rangefinders, cell phones, inReaches, things like that. It's on a platform that has a main binocular case in the center. That case opens with no zippers. It's dead quiet. It just operates on a hook and basically a bungee, and then it folds up to your chest, kind of bifolds, and then stays up with magnets. So super easy. Wanted to limit the amount of motion that a person's making because they may be, opening that up, relatively close to an animal. But then on the sides of this binocular case are what I call wings. Those wings are MOLLE compatible. So if people don't know what that is, it's something from the military, but basically it has two, on each side, two horizontal straps. And on those wings, it comes with two side accessory pockets. They come on and off, but they're sized to hold, most rangefinders, and most cell phones, inReaches, GPSs, things like that. So the binocular case, again, I can't tell you it fits everything, but it'll fit almost all the 8s and most of the 10s. Some of the 10 by binoculars that have built-in rangefinders now, which they weren't really that prevalent 3 years ago when I started this project. Some of those won't fit maybe as good as you want them to, but they'll fit probably pretty good. So binoculars in the center, rangefinders, and then, like I said, cell phones, inReaches. All those pockets and the main binocular case have accessory pockets on the side. So places for wind check, diaphragm calls for calling elk. Again, I could put my inReach on the outside, camouflage paint, you name it, a pocket knife. And then on the back side of the binocular case is a horizontal zippered pocket that's a perfect place for tags, like scalpels and extra blades. I like to run a few just minor survival items there. And then there's a vertical stash pocket for things like, if you're old school like me, a map and a compass or something like that. Some of the field testers from last year sent me some videos where they put their cell phones in the horizontal pocket, which is up against your chest. They put their cell phone there with the top of the cell phone with the camera facing out over the top, and they actually self-film themselves on stocks. The cool thing about it is, Beau, that because those side pockets come off, it gives that versatility and modularity for the hunter to tweak it for where they hunt, how they hunt, the time of year, the species, etc. So I've got mine set up right now for spring bear. If somebody called me because it's whatever today is, it's a Tuesday, right? If somebody called me on Friday and said, "Hey man, you want to go chase turkeys this weekend?" I can quickly change out a few things on that harness. So right now, I could have, I'm running bear spray on my harness right now because I'm going to go after black bear and there's grizzly bears in Montana. I'm going after turkey. I'm not super worried about that, but I need some places for calls. Then I get set up for, shooting total archery challenges and going scouting. I'm going to set it up differently. And then finally it's set up for elk season where I have my diaphragm calls, my wind check, my camo paint, my inReach, my map, all those kind of things. And so by pulling those pockets off, most, not all, but most Molly compatible attachments like a bear spray or pistol holsters will fit there. Again, I can't say all because I just can't try everything in the market, but there's that opportunity. So I know, I've run some of the Safari Land and Blackhawk Molly holsters on that rig when we were testing it, right? Mm-hmm. Some of the bear spray holsters, but anybody who wants to make something or have aftermarket, or maybe they don't want to run them at all, right? And then the harnessing on it is no padding. It's very low profile. There's two straps that cross in the back of the center of your back, and then there's kind of like a belly band, so to speak. I wanted it very low profile so that you could put it on and then put a pack over top of it and wear it all day, multiple days, and not have chafe points or, realize that you're wearing it. So I like to say it can carry 20 pounds of gear, which is a lot. I'm basing that off of the concept I got it from was a very small, what they called Rhodesian vest in the military. It was a very kind of pared down version. And as my military career was ending and I didn't carry as much stuff, I began to use it for hunting and just kind of tweaked it from that. Mm-hmm. And that was kind of the concept. So anyways, Maven Optics harness. And the cool thing is it's not only offered in, our big game patterns of open country and subalpine, but we're also going to offer it in a solid color that's pyrite. So we have a pyrite color. It's kind of a grayish OD green that I'm super, super excited about. So that's kind of the one I scout with and shoot my total archery challenges with, and then go hunt with one in camo.
Yeah, I had seen some of the teasers of that. Brady Miller had posted a couple photos wearing that harness and seen it. And one of the features that you were just talking about there, that I'll tell you how I've used that and some other harnesses, like, something that had one that goes in the back of the harness, like close to your chest. I put my cell phone there not to self-film, but if it's cold out, that keeps the body heat and your battery, your phone lasts longer. To have it there. And because I've found where I have it in external pockets or in my backpack waist belt, my phone dies a lot quicker because the battery gets cold. And I like to hear that one has that capability there. It sounds something stupid and simple, but it's helped out a lot.
No, it's actually a great point, and it's very relevant, right, to keep those batteries warm. Mm-hmm. The other point is I wanted to make this as quiet as possible, but without, making it just a giant burr magnet. So, we took the fabric we had made the Apex pack with a few years ago and put it on there. Some of the pockets have some brushed textile. We used people like South Cox. I don't know if you know South. He's a stickbow hunter. Aaron Snyder, he's another stickbow hunter, but guys that get really close, just to kind of help us validate and vet, is it quiet enough? Is the motion you make to open it or close it, small enough that you're not going to spook animals at very close range. So feel real proud of what the team did and excited to kind of see it out there and see how people are going to modify this. So if you and I had one, we could go on the same hunt and you and I are going to have them set up differently. And I think that's what's so awesome about this product.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome to be able to, and again, just thinking of me from a selfish standpoint with, say, even using it for elk hunting or in Alaska caribou hunting, and then coming back, and I like to run bino harnesses for whitetails Two, because when I'm climbing trees in the morning, I'm taking my stand up and down, or my saddle in this case, climbing the sticks, my binos are hitting off a tree all the time and off my sticks. So I like to keep it close to my chest. And I don't need all the extra stuff on the side, because when I'm in my saddle, the bridge, I guess you call it, would rub and you can't turn. Chris and I were testing some other ones last year and had that problem where we were getting caught in it. And I know it's not designed for that, but as I'm thinking of multi-use type things, you could take off those external pockets, the molly things and stuff that you wouldn't need, and be able to have a slimmer design.
Yeah, I don't want to upset Chris, because he's like a spider monkey, man. He used to ride bulls for 14 years. I don't want him mad at me, but so it wasn't designed for whitetail hunting. But I think like some of the things you're talking about with, climbing and sitting in saddles, it could be a really good product for that. And quite a few of the guys that are our field testers are also photographers, and again, I didn't build it specifically for photographers, but they're able to run different lenses and filters and light meters and things like that, and maybe depending on the lens, smaller lenses, but or put aftermarket pockets on the side. So there's just a lot of versatility to it that me personally, I'm going to be excited to see how people are going to tweak it to kind of fit their own hunting style.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. I like the modular ability of it. So, okay, so we talked about the Maven Optics harness. That's the name of it, correct?
Yep.
So what else do you have coming out for 2020?
So the other two products that I have coming out are a system. They're called the Kelvin Light Down Jacket and Pant. And so fairly innocuous name, but it's absolutely, again, I think it's amazing what the team's done. So, we talked about Eric Gilmore earlier, but Eric started a development with Primaloft. And so people that don't know, Primaloft is a really premier insulation company that we use at Sitka. But Eric started a proprietary insulation development with Primaloft 3 years ago, maybe longer, to basically create a down blend. And so what a down blend is, and I this is important because we were talking about treated down. What a down blend is it's a combination of treated down blended with synthetic insulation. And I'll get to that. I'll get back to that in a minute. And so Eric was able to come up with Primaloft and build these proprietary blends. And what we landed on was a 900 fill down blend insulation. It's the only place in the world right now that it's being used. So Sitka did the development. We have, proprietary use of it for a short amount of time. And we decided to put it in this super lightweight compressible down jacket and pant. So it's an 80-20 down to synthetic. The down, so here's the good thing about down. Down is lightweight, down is compressible, and down, because of that, has a lot of dead airspace. It traps your body heat and keeps you warm. It's got a good heat to weight ratio, warmth to weight ratio. And we discussed some of the downfalls of down. So what we do is we blend it with synthetic, and this is my analogy, not Primaloft's, but what the synthetic does, because the synthetic is, we'll call it compression resistant, and it's also resistant to moisture, that the synthetic acts as scaffolding to keep the down lofted even when moisture is introduced into the system. So what we're trying to accomplish here, and I believe we did, is, some of the good properties of down with some of the good properties of synthetic. But I didn't want to stop there, because to just take this great insulation that's, fairly high performance and just put it all over the jacket and pant was I think it was kind of a cop out, to be honest with you. So what we did is, anywhere in the jacket and pants that were what I call compression zones, so a place that We know the insulation is going to be compressed. We chose not to put the down blend because down is easily compressed. And when it's compressed, it loses that loft. It's not going to stay as warm as you want it to be. So any compression zones, which is under your arms, because your arms are down at your sides most of the time. So under your armpit, down your arms, down the side of your jacket, and then the bottom third back panel of the jacket and the entire back seat of the pant. We chose to put pure synthetic gold insulation from Primaloft because we know that that's going to be, you're going to sit down, your arms are going to be at your side. There's a good chance it's going to, those are the first places where you're going to be compromised by moisture, either from sweating in your armpits or sitting down on a wet rock. So we patterned in those compression zones with synthetic. So it's really this hybrid, really high performance down blended product. And then to take it the last step, we wrap the whole thing in a lightweight 20 denier nylon shell that's got two-way stretch. So why is that important? So 20 denier, it's not the lightest on the market, but it's the lightest that we felt was durable enough, because most of these down jackets or puffy jackets in general aren't super durable, nor do I think they have to be, but we don't want them to be so paper thin that they tear. So 20D nylon, which is always going to be more durable than polyester. And then what the stretch does is the stretch allows the garment or the fabric to give a little bit or stretch and not just tear. So if you're, walking through the woods or on some type of, snow machine or ATV and you snag a branch, it's not just going to immediately tear. It's going to give a little. And, the idea is that adds durability because, maybe the stick will release before the, textile stretches all the way and then tears, right? So just a great product. The jacket rolls into its own side pocket to make a little pillow, like a camp pillow, something like that. There's no hardware on the back of the hood, so no plastic hardware to adjust the hood. So if you're going to sleep in it or lay down and take a nap in the middle of the afternoon, you're not going to have that to deal with. And then the entire product, the jacket is 17 ounces and the pants are 13 ounces in a size large. So the entire combination is less than 2 pounds. So just a great product. Now, with that said, so that I don't want people to think that I'm a hypocrite, would I recommend that you necessarily take that on your caribou hunt to the Brooks Range? I wouldn't say that was the most ideal thing for you to take. I would say it'd be great for you to take to Colorado on your elk hunt. Mm-hmm. I'd certainly take it to Arizona, and I would wear it around here in Montana, but knowing and understanding the environment that is Alaska and that is the Brooks Range, and that you could potentially be, up there for 10 days of straight downpour, I would choose to pick a pure synthetic. But for the people that are looking to save a little weight, not compromise their safety, still have a great product, right, that's going to keep them warm, and I'll call it a mid-season garment. It's not for the late season. This is just going to be the perfect piece to put in your pack.
Yeah. Okay. And so for those situations, say for Alaska or something, that'd be more like the Kelvin Lite hoodie and Kelvin Lite pant. Are those still going to be in the lineup?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha. And yeah, that's an exciting piece. So when you're talking about the weights, say 17 ounces for the jacket, what does the Kelvin Lite hoodie weigh, just for comparison?
I forget off the top of my head, but I could probably extract. So let's just say the jacket's probably 19 or 20 ounces. Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a few ounces less, and it's going to be a little warmer. So it's definitely going to be warmer than the Kelvin Lite hoodie, and it's going to be a little less weight.
Okay.
Yeah. I've got it written down in my book. I don't want to, it'd take me 5 minutes to find it. It's awful.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I was just wondering from a comparison standpoint, and I've been using the Kelvin Lite hoodie now for a while. I had one of the solid versions that was I don't know, from 2013 or 14, something like that. I still wear it. It's held up great, and a great piece of garment. I like hearing some of the little changes that you made, even like with, say, the tie on the back of the hood, for sleeping, things that you normally wouldn't think about. And then as you're saying, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I guess can be a little uncomfortable if you're laying down on it, or, very, very minor, but just some intuitive changes there.
Yeah. Well, you figure that out when you're taking a nap and the hardware on the back of the prototype's driving you crazy, so you don't do it.
Yeah.
And if people are wondering, like, if you are a person, say, that lives out east and you're going to go on your first elk hunt to Colorado, and you just want to buy one puffy that's kind of perfect for everything, I think that Kelvin Lite hoodie is where I would recommend, because you can take it everywhere from Pennsylvania to Colorado to the Brooks Range. And if you're that person that's been out to Colorado a few times and you're kind of figuring it out and you know where you go and how you hunt, this Kelvin Lite down. So I've been running this Kelvin Lite down in my pack in the lower 48 for, I guess, well, this fall season will be 3 years. So for 2 years, I've been running that. And you're going to see some really awesome content and imagery from some really extreme hunts that it's gone on in the last few years to be field tested. So, and the cool thing is, just to kind of toot the horn of the team that I work on, is, Sitka's, in the hunting industry, we're a pretty well-known company and, pretty good size. But, when you start comparing yourself to Arc'teryx and North Face and places like that, like, we're kind of small in comparison, and that we're able to build and design things that are proprietary to us and the only, insulation in the world. At least for the first year, like, that's pretty cool. Like, that's what gets me fired up and going to work, every day, is to try to do stuff like that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I can imagine that your job's not as good all the time as it sounds, but I like to think that it sounds pretty awesome.
No job is, but yeah, but it doesn't suck either. It doesn't suck.
Yeah, no, that's cool, and I've talked about it before with Chris and stuff, but like, just from my own experience I haven't seen the big game side as far as the way you guys test it and stuff, but just seeing how Sitka goes to beyond measures with the whitetail side is that I've seen, and on this recent trip, some of the things that having people from Gore come in there and doing different testing, that's just blew my mind, the amount of detail and things that level we go through to make sure that it's the best product. And that's, why I'm a huge believer in it, and from using it also too, but just being able to see that is reassuring as the end user when I'm putting my money out for a product, that what I'm getting and just, and just the whole aspect of that.
Yeah. I mean, it's fun, but it's also, we consider it pretty vital. The last thing I want is for somebody to go and have a bad experience wearing something that I, developed.
Yeah. Well, I got to use, you and I don't think we really talked much about this when just through text message, but on my elk hunt, got to use some of the different items that we had talked about last year as far as new items coming out, and got to put them through the test, and it was a pretty pleasurable experience. The Kelvin Kelvin Active hoodie is like my elk hunting favorite piece. I think now has been added to it. The Kelvin Active jacket was my favorite, and I still use that all the time. But man, that Kelvin Active hoodie, I never really took it off much during that hunt.
Yeah, I think we're very aligned there. It was tough. I felt like I was like cheating on my girlfriend or something, not using the Kelvin Active jacket, but the Kelvin Active hoodie was just like, they're both awesome pieces. And again, one may be more, attractive to somebody else than another for different uses. But yeah, for September elk, man, I love that Kelvin Active hoodie.
Yeah. We one of my hunting partners I went with, he he bought it too, and we went on that trip, and we both talked about it. We were doing daily podcasts out there, and he's like, dude, like this piece is money. I wore the core lightweight. I like the short sleeve, and then the Apex hoodie, and then that Kelvin Active hoodie. That got me through 99% of the hunting that I did there. And then for my rain gear, I had the Dew Point jacket, which is no longer in the lineup, but I had that with me, and then the Apex pants, and man, and Cloudburst rain pants, and that was just like that system. I felt for elk was just money for me personally, and then the Kelvin light hoodie as well for the insulation there. But man,
yeah, that's almost exactly what I run around in out here.
Really?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yep. I mean, I'm always running some kind of proto here or there, but yeah, that what you just said is my go-to for elk and mule deer for bow hunting.
Yep. I don't know. I just felt like dialed this year when I was like going, just everything just felt good. And
you were dialed, brother, and you killed a bull. So
that's,
right? It all came together.
It did. And I never was one to ever want to shoot with a hood up or anything like it. That always bothered the hell out of me. And I had the Apex hoodie up, and I didn't even realize I had it up, until I watched the video, because, everything was, I just felt good the way it was designed. It came back, and, it was out of with my thumb release, didn't affect anything. I was able to still get anchor position, and it just felt good. And, I even had gloves on, which I don't shoot with gloves on, normally, and the Ascent gloves are so thin that felt like nothing. And, it's just, I don't know. I'm just kind of geeking out here talking about, as I play with things, and when it actually all works together, it's pretty neat.
Yeah. No, those are the stories I like to hear for sure.
Yep. And then threw it all in the mountain hauler, the 4000, and packed it out there. So that was a fun scenario to be able to finally get to load an elk in the pack and carry that out. So it was funny. We had enough guys there. Like I texted some of my buddies on the inReach to come up, that they're like, hey, you carry out the head. We'll take the rest of the meat. Cause I said, no, I want one of the hindquarters, and I want the head as we're going out, and just being kind of bullheaded and proud with it. But it was a pleasurable experience. Let's put it that way.
Well, I know you had to be more excited than me because it was your bull, but I was really excited for you, man, when I saw that, because I know the time and effort you put into getting that done.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And yeah, you were one of the first people I sent. I was looking back, because when I texted you about doing this podcast, I was looking back at the text, and I texted you that next morning, after I took the meat into town and everything. I texted you. I was like, I wanted to share it with you, and you were pretty pumped about it. So that was cool.
Yeah. It's a big deal. It's a real big deal.
Yeah. Yep. So that's cool. But I just wanted to kind of share that little story there, and just kind of, for anyone that's been listening since last year, and when you were on talking about the 2019 stuff, some of those items that we talked about, I ended up using in the field and being able to test them out the way that they're supposed to. I know you mentioned it earlier, but do you want to give some information as far as your Instagram handle and the website where you'll have some of that out?
Yeah, so on IG, at J Barklow, Barklow at J Barklow. So the website will be up and running as well. It'll be johnbarklowusa.com. And
thanks for checking out part 2 to this episode with John Barklow and Sitka Gear. You can find out more of the 2020 Sitka Gear line over at www.sitkagear.com.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of East Meets West Hunt with your host, Beau Martonik. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit eastmeetswesthunt.com, Facebook at East Meets West Outdoors, and Instagram at East Meets West Hunt. If you enjoyed today's episode, please review and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.